Hello and welcome to the Becoming Your Highest Self podcast. I'm your host, Macy Renee, and we are going on a journey together, my friend. If you've been looking for a podcast geared towards your growth, self-awareness, navigating your brain's daily mind drama, and deep inner work to become your highest and best self, you are in the perfect place. Let's get started. Well, hello and good morning. Welcome back to another episode of Becoming Your Highest Self podcast. I'm Macy Renee, and I'm so excited to have you back. If you're a brand new listener here, welcome. I hope that you enjoy the content that you hear and learn on the podcast. And if you're a returning listener, thank you again for joining me this week. We're going to talk about how it's okay to want more and still find gratitude for where we're at. But before we do that, I just want to shout out to all the people that struggle this time of year when the clocks have been set back and it's dark at like 4:30 or 5 o'clock. If you're that person, I just want to tell you, I feel you so deeply because I have struggled with this time of year my entire life. October really through March, I feel so out of my body. So it's so much harder for me to be grounded and feel good this time of year because I thrive on sunshine, lots of natural light, warm weather. It's part of the reason that my husband and I, it was another factor of why we moved out west. So although it's actually, I think, getting darker here earlier than it ever did in Kentucky with the time change, it's 84 degrees, so the fact that I can still sit on my balcony, I feel like most of the year and be okay. Hopefully it will help us through. And we also have a fireplace here, so a wood burning fireplace, so I think that'll be nice during the cold months. So I'm hoping and praying that this move helps me not feel as depressed this time of year because your girl thrives on sunshine and lots of light. I literally have like every light on in our apartment right now because I hate this time of year when it's dark so soon. Like, why? Is there anywhere that I can live where it's sunny and 70 all the time, all year long? Because that's what I really feel like I need in my life. And also, P.S., a simple little plug for if you look on Amazon, type in a happy light. If you're like me and you struggle, a happy light mimics what happens whenever it's sunny outside. And so you put it in a room that you're going to be in. So maybe your office or bedroom or just wherever you hang out, even the living room. And it produces light. And when you look at it, it feels like it's sunny. It's kind of crazy. I'm sure there's like science behind it. I don't know all the details, but I can tell you that I used to work at a clinic with a physical therapist who had one in her treatment room for the patients around this time of year because a lot of the patients would come in and just say, I'm just so depressed. I don't know why. And a lot of times it's just because of the time change and it being dark and not getting as much sun and it's just such a struggle. So if you struggle, you can go to Amazon, type in happy light, maybe purchase yourself one. They're so worth it. I know for a fact they work. I would go into her office and immediately feel happy. And then I'd go back into my treatment room and be like, meh. So check those out. Okay, you guys. So today we're going to talk about, again, permission to want more, but still feel grateful. And the reason that I want to talk about this is because I feel like when we're talking about our highest self, we're talking about a version of ourselves that is deep inside of us already. It's all of our desires, the qualities and skills and potential that we know that we have deep down, but we haven't accessed it yet. And there's various reasons why maybe we haven't accessed it yet. And it could be old trauma that needs to be healed. It could be limiting beliefs that need to be addressed. It could be current beliefs that need to be addressed. It could be a mindset issue, like a disconnect. It can be an out-of-body experience, not connected to our emotions or our feelings. It could be lack of emotional intelligence. There's so many reasons why it's hard for us at times to step into our highest self. And the biggest reason being that our brain loves to protect us. It loves to protect us from getting hurt, from feeling embarrassed, but ultimately from experiencing any kind of negative emotion. So when your brain anticipates that you're going to feel embarrassed or experience a negative emotion, it does whatever it can at all costs to keep that from happening. So becoming our highest self is not like 6 months of work, right? Or a year of work. It's truly lifelong work and a lifelong commitment. And you're ultimately committing to your growth for a lifetime. Like every day, how can you do a little bit better today than you did yesterday? And so it's that consciousness and that awareness of, I know that I have the potential to, communicate better or do this better or step into, skills that I have always longed for that maybe I've never even tried because I'm afraid of failing. Like highest self-work is just such a beautiful thing, and it's coming more and more into your body, coming more and more home to yourself and becoming more self-aware. And throughout that work, there's also the piece of really deciding what you want for your life if anything were possible. If you didn't have any limits, if you weren't afraid financially, if you didn't struggle with money or there was enough and you didn't feel lack or scarcity around money or time, what is it that you would truly want? And this is probably the most challenging thing for my clients to answer whenever we do this work. And a lot of times this is the work I'll start with, whether that's in our program or one-on-one. And it's certainly how I will continue to start all the sessions like one-on-one moving forward. Because if you don't have a clear vision of what you want, of what you're aiming for, of what you desire, okay, it's really hard to ever achieve it. You have to know the target that you're aiming for in order to hit it. If I ask you to hit a target, but you don't see the target, you're going to be very confused of like, well, which one? Or if I lined up 20 targets, all different colors, and I say, hit the target that's going to give you everything you want, you're going to ask a lot of questions like, well, what target is it that has everything I want? Is it the purple? Is it the red? Is it the blue? And if you don't know which one to hit, it's going to be very challenging to do so, right? You have to know exactly where you're aiming. So with this podcast episode, I wanted to talk about giving yourself permission to want more, because what comes up for a lot of people whenever we're doing the work of, what does your highest self look like? What does your highest self want? What things do you have? What things would you want to achieve? What qualities do you want to step into? What would you do if you could do it all? What would you have if you could have it all? Like, what would life look like if you just didn't limit yourself? If you didn't limit yourself whatsoever, what would life look like ideally in your mind? So many people have a really hard time even doing this exercise and allowing themselves to go there, because their brain, again, goes into a protective mechanism where it says, I'm afraid to want more because what if I never get it? If I never get the thing I want, then I'm going to feel pain. Then I'm going to feel suffering. And because I don't want to feel pain and suffering, and there's the potential to feel that, let's not even have a bigger vision for our life. Let's just be okay with where we're at. And this sometimes gets confused with, if I want more, I'm being selfish, or I'm being greedy, or I'm not being grateful for the things that I have. And that is where we mess up. Finding your highest self, right? I shouldn't even say finding, but stepping into your highest self and what potential you have to create for your life and really just create the life you truly want is never selfish or greedy or a lack of gratitude, okay? It's the most selfless thing that you can do for yourself, because whenever you're healed, when you're doing the work of self-awareness, when you are really putting yourself first to do all of the things that you've wanted to do, you are creating a ripple in the world, right? You are creating the potential for others to see what is possible when we turn inward and we do the work. It's never selfish. But a lot of times we think that we're not showing enough gratitude if we're aiming for the next thing. And there is a skill to that, right? Like there are people who set goals and they achieve their goals and they never stop to appreciate where they've been and where they're going. Okay. And that's a whole different topic for a different day, because gratitude is the most, what's the best word to use for that? Gratitude is the strongest energy we can have. It's the best energetic vibration that we can have. It's actually the energetic vibration that creates like limitless wealth for us, like financially. It's actually what allows us to be really good receivers of money and call in more when we're in true gratitude. And a lot of us think that in order to feel grateful, things need to be better than they are right now. And that's not the case. You can feel grateful for exactly where you are in this moment right now. You can feel grateful that there's a podcast to help you with your self-awareness for free, even if you can't afford to coach one-on-one. You can feel grateful that there's a roof over your head, even if it's not the home that you have on your dream board. I'm looking across the room. And I've been making dream boards for years, since, really my entire life. Since elementary school, they would have us, sit down, cut out pictures of a magazine and glue it on paper. But even before that, I can remember being a little kid. I think I've talked about this on the podcast before. At my great-grandma and grandpa's house, my Oma and Opa, my Oma would bring in the mail, and it would be like Smith's Furniture. I don't know if you all remember those, or where in the world, if you all even have them, but it was a furniture store. And there was Sears and JCPenney's and, just a bunch of ads that would come in her mail. And she would be ready to throw them away because she never wanted to keep the junk mail. She was always really quick about throwing stuff away. And I would always ask her to keep the junk mail and then grab some plain pieces of paper, my sister and I, my middle sister and I. And we would cut out photos of things that we liked. Like I would cut out refrigerators and stoves and appliances in these, 1990s ads of junk mail and these clothes from JCPenney's and these families. And I would glue them to a piece of paper. And I didn't realize that as a kid, what I was really doing was creating a dream board for my life. But ultimately, that's what I was doing. I was picking out everything that I wanted for when I became an adult. So I'm looking across the room right now, and I see my dream boards staring back at me. And I also see my husband's, because he, for the very first time, even though I've been trying to get him to create a dream board for forever, he always thought it was silly. But now that he is in real estate, he's with a great company here in Nevada, and they have coaches. And what's the very first thing these coaches made all of the real estate agents do? They made them create dream boards in one of their educational workshops, because it's so important. If you're listening to this right now and you do not have a dream board, or your dream board is tucked away in a closet somewhere, I encourage you to get it out and add to it, or in general, create it. And I think I even have an episode on exactly how to do that, a 5-year vision plan. That's the episode that can fill you in on all of that. But I'm looking at our dream boards right now, and one of the things that drives us, every day is looking at what is on these dream boards. Like I'm looking at mine from across the room. There is a home that I would love to build from the ground up. Every time I see it, it makes my heart flutter. And in my head, I can see, like, I want a long driveway. I want it lined with trees on both sides. I want a circular driveway, maybe with a fountain in the middle. I haven't quite decided what's going to be in the middle, but I know pretty much the style of the house. I know the inside and the outside. I have things on there that I was looking the other day, and I nearly started crying because I make a dream board. I try to every single year around January to make one. But even if not in January, make it whenever you're thinking about it. Don't say I can only make one in January. You can make one whenever you want to make one. And it's really important to do. But last year I was a little bit late making my dream board, but I put on there something about understand what the model is, which is a part of the life coach school. I didn't know back when I made this earlier in this year that I was actually going to be able to enroll in the life coach school. I had no idea. I put that on there because I desired to be certified through the life coach school, but I didn't know how it was going to happen or how it was going to be possible or when it would come into fruition. And when I walked past my dream board the other day, I nearly bursted into tears because I realized I called that in so quickly. And there's so many other things on there that I have called in very quickly as well. I wanted to hit my first 5-figure month and open my Veuve Clicquot champagne. And I have a little picture of the Veuve Clicquot bottle on there. And I didn't know when I would be able to do that because I had been aiming for that goal for like 19 months or something like that. Something crazy. I don't know, 16 months, maybe 13 months. I can't remember. And I was able to do that this year. And I don't know. It's just you have to have a vision. But it doesn't mean that you can't feel gratitude for where you are now or that you're selfish for wanting the things that are on your dream board and not in gratitude about where you are now. Like, we're not anywhere near the things that are on our dream board. I'm looking at a car that's on my husband's dream board. Definitely going to have to sell a good amount of houses and help a lot of people in coaching to be able to get that car. Same with the car that's on my dream board. The house that I want to build from the ground up, for sure going to have successful, thriving careers to be able to do that. But at the same time, we're living right now in a 700 square foot apartment, and I still feel grateful to have a roof over my head, that we're able to provide for ourselves, that we're able to pay the bills that are, coming out every single month, that we have all of these things that bring me joy, like my cutesy little fireplace decorations and my decor that came from, townhouse to our first home to this apartment, which is home. You can feel grateful for where you are and still desire a place that you're capable of going when you get out of your own way. So what I like to ask my clients is, if I had a magic wand and I could give you anything and everything that you wanted, what would you want? And I can't tell you how many clients will say, I don't know, because they've never allowed themselves to go that far. They've never given themselves permission to dream. They think that because they've already graduated college or high school, right, and they've started a family and they've got 401k and a good job, that now that's where life is going to be forever. And they have convinced themselves that it's okay if that's where life is forever. And if I want more, or if I'm around people who talk about having more, they're selfish, they're greedy, they're never satisfied with what they have. It's very common to do that. Like, I've experienced that in my own family, where whenever I have discussed dreams that I have for the future, like building this home from the ground up, and, family members seeing what the home looks like, they're like, well, why do you even need that? Why would you even want that? That's so much money. The taxes on that are going to be so expensive. And I wouldn't want an upstairs because the heating and the air is going to be just a nightmare for you to pay for. Like, that is how they'll respond to the things on my dream board. And I'm in my head like, you know what? I have such a vision for how much money I can create in my life, from residual income, from pouring my heart and soul into my passion and my work, that I'm not going to be worried about the heating cost of this dream house that I have wanted for a very long time. That's the last thing on my mind. My mind is not focused on how, you don't get it. My mind is focused on everything that I desire to do, like mission trips and, helping people and, having a few of the things that I really want to experience in my life, and vacations and starting a family and hitting milestones on the podcast or in my business, both personally, professionally. But that's what a lot of people's brain does, is it resorts to what is quote, quote, realistic or logical. And when I'm telling you that you can give yourself permission to create whatever it is you want to create, I'm not asking you to be realistic or logical. I'm actually asking you to use your imagination and tap into, if anything were possible, what would you want? And to get so incredibly clear on that answer. Even if it's something like, I want to be a better speaker. I want to be a better public speaker, right? Because maybe at your job, you have to lead meetings and you're terrified right now to speak at those meetings. And you look at other people who speak in those meetings and they look calm and cool and collected like a cucumber. And you're like, I don't understand how they're so calm and how they can move the people that, are listening so easily. I want to be able to do that. Your highest self can do that. When something pops in as a desire, it's because you have the potential to fulfill it as soon as you get out of your own way and start doing the work. And a lot of people say, well, it's not realistic. That's not who I am. That's just not my personality. And what you're telling me whenever you say that is, this is who I've been my entire life, and I don't believe that I can change. I don't believe in what's possible. I don't believe in possibility. I don't believe that doing the work is going to help me get there. That's what you're saying. When you resort to anything that you feel like you can't have and you say it's just my personality, I just can't do it, what you're saying is, I've been this way my entire life and I don't see how it would ever change because I'm not going to do the work to ever make it change. And it's a very, I don't want to say stubborn, but it's a stubborn thing your brain does to keep you exactly where you are and just telling you that something is very unrealistic. Or if you do try to get it, you're going to probably fail and you're going to humiliate yourself and you're going to be embarrassed and you're going to feel all these negative emotions. And because your brain and body think, oh my God, I don't know if I'll be able to live if I have to feel negative, let's just not. And that will keep so many people from stepping into their highest self. Because your highest self isn't just about, it doesn't mean that I want yachts and I want Ferraris and I want Lamborghinis and I want, to have my own helicopter or my own jet. I think sometimes whenever we're talking about highest self and vision boards and dream boards, that we automatically assume that that's what we're like, everybody's telling you that you need to want is dream bigger. Why do you want a Toyota when you can go get a Lambo? And not everybody wants that. And I certainly, when I'm talking about highest self, am not telling you to go from having a minivan that you love because it's efficient and it's what your kids fit in to wanting a Lamborghini. If you don't want that, your highest self knows what it wants when you allow it to sit and think about it without judgment. When you give yourself permission, that's important. Give yourself permission. So if you had permission to just want what you want, have what you have, become who you want to become, experience what you want to experience, what does that look like when you're not limiting yourself, when your brain is not limiting you? So when I look at my dream board, I see everything that I truly, it just like, I desire that. I desire that. And I'm working every day on becoming the person that one day goes from desiring to having, from dreaming to doing, from I want it to I have it, from, when am I going to get it to it's done. It's here. Okay? And there's nothing wrong with the things that I want on my dream board. There's nothing wrong with the things my husband wants on his dream board. He even has some things that are different than what I would want. And that's not a problem either. I think I talk about that on the 5-year vision statement. Some people are like, but I want these things and my husband doesn't want these things or my wife doesn't want these things. It's okay. It's okay. Still put whatever you desire on your dream board. And I tell my clients too, like clients that are maybe struggling in their relationships or their marriages at this time, I'm like, what does your highest self want? Does your highest self want a loving, amazing relationship with your current partner? What would help it be better? And they might say, we're horrible communicators. And I'm like, okay, then on your dream board, give yourself permission to believe that you all can grow and become better communicators because you're going to start by doing the work, the self-awareness work. You're going to learn your triggers. You're going to learn how to heal. You're going to learn how to be, more empathetic. You're going to strengthen your emotional intelligence. Like if having a better relationship with your current partner is what you want, put it on the dream board and be very specific about what it is that you'd like to be better. communication, your sex, right? Like, what is it? Your intimacy, your the way that you all parent together, the way that you like travel together, or what you all do for date nights. Like maybe you're putting on your dream board like certain places you want to travel together, or certain areas you want to go and have a date. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not telling you your dream board needs to be yachts and, Maseratis and all of these things if that's not what your highest self wants. Some people will want that, and that's great. If you desire that, please put it on your dream board, and please invite me. I would love to go on your yacht. I'm kidding. But I would. I'm just saying. I would actually, I don't want to own a yacht. My highest self doesn't care to own a yacht, but my highest self definitely wants to go on a yacht 2 to 3 times in my life. Maybe more. I don't know. I want a private chef one day. My husband, thank God, we both have that on our dream board, that one day we'll have an in-home chef that cooks like 3 to 4 times a week, because both my husband and I, we would love to even eat more like vegetarian, vegan meals, but I know that if I try to cook them, I'm not going to like them. So I think if a chef were to come in and cook, like I could stay on track much more easily. I like cooking occasionally, but it's not a full blown passion of mine. I'm more of a, like I'll snack, like eating charcuterie is more my thing, or eating like little snacks is more my thing. But I love food in the sense that I love trying new things. I'm definitely a foodie. I like eating out for that reason. And I think it would be amazing to have a personal chef. So thank God my husband and I are on the same page. He has like 3 huge plates of food. He came home from his dream board baking, and he was so excited to show me because, again, I've been telling him he needs a dream board for like at least 5 or 7 years, maybe, probably 7 years. He would never do it. And so he finally did it. And I was like, what's up with like the big plate of pasta and the chef at the bottom holding a huge plate of food and the like salad on the bottom left? And he was like, duh, in-home chef. I told you that's what I want. I want us to have an in-home chef. And I'm like, oh, praise Jesus. Me too. And then we also would like to have, like, if, again, this is no limits, right? No limits. If you could just have it all, do it all, whatever it is that you want, what does your highest self want? We both want a massage therapist that will come in named like Helga, or like basically like Trunchbull. She'll look like Trunchbull from Matilda. And just be like this big burly, can totally help us out, and I'm like, I really just need that in my life. And so I have that, I think, on my dream board. I don't think he had it because they just cut out magazines. And so it wasn't, something that he could print that day that he made his board. But now that he's made one, we'll get even more specific. And then he came home with a huge, I'm telling you this, I'm looking at it right now. His dream board has this huge glass of Blue Moon beer with an orange. And I was like, when he brought it home, I'm like, what in the world? Why do you have a beer that takes up the whole dream board? Like, are you drinking every day as your highest self? Like, what's happening here? And he goes, I want to own a brewery one day. You know this? And I'm like, oh, yeah. So I was like, I was a little concerned with the size of that beer taking up the entire dream board. But anyways, you guys, this is all to say, give yourself permission to want more, and know that you can still be grateful for where you're at today. You can absolutely lean into where you're at today, but make a vision board that's 5 years from now, or even a year from now, a vision statement. Go back and listen to that episode where you really, really think about what your highest self would want. Okay. So for me now with my coaching, I want to work with one-on-one clients to help them become their highest selves, but I also would love to be a well-known coach that works in corporate as well. And that's kind of the direction my business is going as well, is to keep what I've been doing and working with all of the women and men that want to become their highest self in life, right? But to also branch into leadership, where people want to become their highest selves as leaders in corporate and become very strong, emotionally intelligent people that are reaching their goals and also helping other people do the same. And so my highest self sees me signing corporate contracts and becoming, very well known in the corporate world as a coach. And I was thinking the other day, I'm like, oh, my highest self definitely wants to be featured in a magazine, like definitely wants to be asked to be featured in a prestigious magazine one day. And all of that stuff, I want to be clear too, like when I am thinking of my highest self and I'm putting my visions to paper, it feels terrifying. Like even the thought of me having this vision of one day being asked to be in a magazine made me want to throw up, because I don't know when that's going to happen. I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know what life will look like whenever that happens. But I even feel nervous now for it even being a possibility, or even allowing myself to believe that big or dream that big. So if you feel a little squirmy, wormy, and throw uppy whenever you're thinking of your highest self and giving yourself permission to want more, it's okay. Okay, it's not always going to feel rosy in the moments that you're doing it, because ultimately you are accessing a piece of yourself that you aren't fully integrated with yet. You don't fully believe it yet, and that's okay. And that's really the work of coaching as well, is becoming that person that has it. And in order to become the person that has it, you have to believe in it way before it happens. So I hope this episode helps you. Give yourself permission to want more. Know that you can still feel gratitude, and that nothing that you want or desire is wrong or bad, or takes away from who you are now. Doesn't mean you're selfish. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. You can have it all and do it all and become whoever you want to be. And whether it's little things or big things or a blend of both, it's never wrong. And I'm rooting for you every step of the way. And if I can help you in this piece, or in this time of your life where you really want to go for it, then let's talk. Let's talk. You can go to MaceyRenee.com, schedule a one-on-one consult. Remember that up through 2021, or throughout the rest of 2021, my prices are what they are on MaceyRenee.com, but they will be going up in 2022. So if you want to secure a contract with the current prices, you'll want to do that before December 31st, 2021. Okay? I love you guys. Have a great week. I'll see you next time. Bye.